I am Marcia Brewster, president of UNA Westchester, and I am so pleased and happy to have a representative of the Ramapo Lenape Nation here to bless our land and water, Stuart DeGroat Jr. Do you have a...
I want to say thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. With me today, I have our Chief Perry, Chief Dwayne Perry, one of our elders. Also, Dennis DeFries, who is one of our elders. And Bobby Gamble should be arriving soon, who's the Executive Director of Sweetwater in Stony Point, New York. Today, like I said, it's an honor to take and be here. And I thank the Creator and our ancestors for giving us this opportunity to all be here and gather. It is for the land, the sky, the water that brings us life, that encourages us all to live. I can hear me. Again, it's a true honor. Thank you, Creator, for giving us this opportunity to gather at this UNA meeting, to take and meet fellow humans, to share ideas, to gather thoughts, and to emphasize the need for prosperity, peace, so we can all take and live as one. We also like to encourage on the native side is your own gardens, to take and sustain some nutritious, not chemical related foods. Grow fruits, vegetables. Those of you who have properties where you can take and have different animals, it's all about natural, being holistic sometimes. But on occasions, do we have to go out to the local store and purchase something? Yes, we do. However, we want to do it with grace. We want to do it with dignity. Again, I would like to say thank you very much. Thank you to the Creator for giving us this opportunity. And I'd like to turn it back over.
It's so lovely to have a representative of the Ramapo Lenape Nation here. Thank you. In fact, several of them. So thank you, Stuart. Good afternoon and welcome to all of you. We are so delighted to have you join us today. Thank you for your blessing, Stuart. And now we will move to the UNA Westchester's annual meeting and Earth Day program. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Marcia Brewster, president of UNA Westchester. We have an exciting program today, focusing on food security in Westchester at the global and the local level. Unfortunately, I received apologies yesterday from our keynote speaker, Shaza Mograbi, spokesperson from the World Food Program, and unfortunately, she came down with a nasty bug and will not be able to make it today. But our second keynote speaker, Hugh Locke, will take her place. Not yet, but thank you very much for stepping in when needed. He will address conditions at the international level. And we'll have time for a few questions after Hugh's talk. And so hand your cards to Connie or Colleen, who will be walking around with the cards. Now on to the program. UNA Westchester is pleased to welcome our UNA members, our current and recently elected board of directors, and our co-sponsors to this annual meeting. I want to give a shout out to Jose Nunez, wherever he is, there he is, our co-chair of the Young Professionals and the chair of this meeting, and other board members who lent their crucial support to this program. I also want to recognize our volunteers, Ivy and Lena at the registration desk, Tassila Zala and other volunteers from Manhattanville and Mercy Universities, who are kind enough to be at the information tables and doing other tasks. And I just wanted to point out, UNA tables are in the back. One is information and one is for memberships. We want to express our deepest thanks to our co-host, Manhattanville University's Clark Center for Religion and Community Service, for providing us this beautiful room. Thank you, Craig, and our co-sponsors, several of whom have information on tables around the room. We hope you have time to meet them and have a conversation. First, I want to mention our affiliate partners at the national level at UNA USA, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, here represented by the Zeta Nu Omega chapter and by its standing-in president, Alia McCant. Alia, there she is. And the Links Incorporated, Westchester County chapter, represented by Dr. Pam Minyard. Where are you, Pam? Oh, there you are. These two groups have been recognized as affiliates by UNA USA, and any member of either one of those groups gets a 50% discount on UNA membership. So please, if you're affiliated with one of them, join UNA now. And then next, the other co-sponsors are the Community Center Without Walls with Clifton Abrams. He's over there in the, there he is, Clifton Abrams. Environmental Leaders of Color, ELOC, over there. And that's Olivia Lopez da Silva, Federated Conservationists of Westchester County. That is Jane Curtis. Jane Curtis. And let's see, of course, Planting Westchester, Millie McGraw. Millie? They're one of our co-sponsors, Sustainable Westchester, Christian Capabianco. Welcome. And Westchester Alliance for Sustainable Solutions, WASS, with our friend Courtney Williams over there. I missed Feeding Westchester, Rebecca Snyder. She has many roles to play today. These are all important community organizations that are fighting for human rights and climate action. Please visit their tables and try to have a chat with them. We urge participants to join UNA Westchester by becoming a member of our chapter. You can register and sign up at the membership table where Nicolina is sitting, and we would love to have you join us. Now, I'm just going to recognize a couple of our local leaders who are already here. Ellen Hendricks, Greenberg Counselor, and Assembly Member Mary Jane is not here? No, okay. We're expecting our County Executive Ken Jenkins to come a little later. Now it is my pleasure to call on Jose Nunez, YP co-chair and Earth Day chair, to give an overview of the program. Jose.
Okay. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully feeling well. I'll put this up in a little bit. Thank you, Marcia, and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our always wonderful annual Earth Day celebration. Today's program is built around the most urgent questions of our time. How do we ensure every person on this planet has access to food that is not only sufficient, but affordable and nutritious? And here's sort of our afternoon, how it will unfold. Our keynote dialogue has changed in nature because of the unexpected absence of our speaker from the World Food Program. We will hear from Hugh Locke, the other half of the proposed dialogue. He will provide an overview on global food security, including UN strategies. He will address the critical role of smallholder farmers in the global food supply and what it takes to build partnerships that strengthen equitable food systems so that access to affordable, quality food becomes a reality for all people, not just a privileged few. Then our food security panel will feature leaders doing remarkable work right here in Westchester. We will be hearing from advocates for improving distribution of food to families in need, such as Feeding Westchester and small-scale operations that produce nutritious, high-quality food for low-cost distribution to food pantries and distribution networks. Following the panel, Marcia will present the UNA Westchester annual report, and we'll hear from our board announcements, our board members, and recognize some very special honorees, many from whom you'll hear from today, individuals and organizations whose work embodies the mission we're all here to advance. And then we get to continue this conversation through our reception beginning at 3:30 with refreshments. You'll notice that this is a zero waste reception. If you walked in, you saw a couple of bins coming in. So that's in keeping true with today's theme. Now I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, Hugh Locke, who stresses that food security is not just a humanitarian issue, it's a climate issue, a justice issue, and a human rights issue. Hugh is a champion of regenerative agriculture, not as an aspiration, but as a practical, scalable, climate smart strategy for feeding the world. Hugh has spent the past 15 years telling a story the world urgently needs to hear, the story of hundreds of millions of smallholder farmers around the globe who have been marginalized, overlooked, and made functionally invincible, and who, he believes, hold the key to an agricultural revolution that could literally change the course of life on our planet. Hugh is a co-founder and president of Futura, which orchestrates regenerative agriculture and agroforestry programs worldwide. He served as a senior director of Landmark Regenerative Agriculture Global Reports, sponsored by the Rockefeller Foundation. He is the co-founder and president of the Smallholder Farmers Alliance in Haiti and a board member of the global reforestation group One Tree Planted. Please welcome Hugh Locke.
I have to take out my phone and turn on that timer thing so I don't bore you to death here. Hello. Oh, that's the challenge of being as tall as I am. So by 2050, oops, not sure what that is. Doesn't affect me. We have to figure out how to feed 1.5 billion more people. The interesting statistic that goes along with that is that all 100% of that 1.5 billion additional world population will be in the global south. Not one additional person from North America, Europe, it's all in the global south. And so the question that has really obsessed me for the last 6 years or so is, how can we feed those additional 1.5 billion people in the places in which they live, and doing so without harming the environment any further than conventional agriculture is already doing? Thank you very much. So while the focus of today is about food security, that works when you're in a country that has a net export of food. But if you're in the global south, the issue is food sovereignty. Where do you get your food from? Who controls it? Who makes the decisions? And what's the impact on your local farming community when you import so much? Excuse me. And we only have to look at the issues with regard to Strait of Hormuz and all of that business going on right now. Food sovereignty is a huge issue that's going to have a bigger impact than we might think in the coming years. So my involvement in this particular category starts in Haiti. In 2010, I co-founded an organization called the Smallholder Farmers Alliance. And I did this with a Haitian agronomist named Timothée Georges. And we set out to plant trees. I really wasn't, to be frank, I wasn't particularly interested in smallholder farmers. I wanted to plant trees. The country is denuded of trees if you've ever been to Haiti. Spectacular country though it is, it doesn't have a lot of trees. And so the only people who were available to plant the trees were smallholder farmers. And so my colleague Timothy and I approached them and said, we have this great idea. We're going to give you trees for free, and we'd like you to plant them. And they were very polite, and they said, no, not interested. So we had to come up with a better plan. So we realized that we hadn't actually asked them what they needed. So we went on a tour across Haiti, and we said, what do you need? And they came up with 3 core things. They needed better seed for their crops. They needed hand tools to work the land, and they needed technical training to improve the quality of their operations. So we said, good, we're going to set up a system where if you grow the trees and transplant them and look after them, we will give you these agricultural services, better seed, tools, and training. And so they said, yep, we're in. And so we now have 10,000 farmer members across the country. The farmers plant just over 1 million trees a year, even in these difficult times in Haiti, which frankly is a bit of a miracle in and of itself. And the average yield of the farmers goes up by around 40%, and their net household income goes up between 50 to 100%, depending on where you are in the country. So this was my introduction to smallholder farmers. And this led me to think, so if there's 1 million smallholder farms in Haiti, with a population of just over 11 million, that's a big percentage of the population. What's the deal internationally? So there are approximately 570 million farms worldwide, farms of all scales. But out of that, 475, or 84%, are smallholder farms where the average is less than 5 acres. So if you total up the number of people who live and work on those farms, it comes to 1/4 of the global population. Why is it that we don't know more about this whole segment of humanity? To answer that question, you go back to the early 1960s and the emergence of industrial agriculture, commercial, conventional agriculture it's now called, as the norm for feeding the world. And there was a crisis in the early 1960s. There was a projection that based on population growth that by the 1990s there would be worldwide famine. That propelled support for the expansion of conventional agriculture. It was called the Green Revolution. And that did, in fact, triple global food production, prevented a worldwide famine, but at a tremendous cost. And one of the impacts of that whole process was to marginalize smallholder farmers. I've had very serious conversations with economists, for example, from the World Bank. And I know that there's a place in the universe for them. But their take on this is that smallholder farmers should give up, move to the city, make widgets in factories that will give them enough income to buy imported food from the global north. That's their economic model. And this is what I found just so, egregious. You just can't function that way. So 6 years ago, working in Haiti, we had been doing everything based on organic principles. And 6 years ago, we switched to regenerative. Now, I want to do a quick survey. Has anybody here, could you explain regenerative to your neighbor if you had to? Okay, so you represent, the rest of you who didn't put up your hand, it's all right because almost nobody knows about regenerative agriculture. But I'm here to tell you it is an amazing growing phenomenon worldwide. So what is it? Regenerative agriculture, it's a fairly new concept, but it's based on indigenous and traditional farming knowledge from smallholders throughout the world, married with the experience of sustainable agriculture. A lot of experiments in the last 50 years, you would recognize organic, permaculture, biointensive, agroecology. These were all attempts to counter the impact of conventional agriculture by becoming more aligned with the natural rhythms of nature. So regenerative includes all of those, but takes it to a different level and combines it with science, where science is in a supporting role, not a dominant role. And out of that comes a more holistic approach to agriculture. Now, some people may say, isn't organic good enough? Why don't we just embrace that? Well, there are a couple of things. First of all, it represents currently the gold standard for sustainable agriculture. For you go to the market, you want to, if you can afford it, but you want to be able to know something that's been grown organically. But when it gets right down to it, organic has become the certification of the absence of bad stuff, the absence of chemicals or use of GMOs or other chemical inputs. And that's important, but it's not enough. What regenerative does is to say, yes, you have to maintain those standards, but you need to know, rather than simply the certification of the absence of bad stuff, what is the positive impact on the farms, families, on the community, on biodiversity, on soil health, on a positive contribution to mitigating climate change. Those represent the broad categories in which regenerative agriculture is focused. The other thing that is a challenge for organic, and I say this respectfully because organic it does represent the current gold standard, but again, it's not enough. If you are a smallholder farmer in a country like Haiti, you cannot afford the cost of third-party certification for organic. Believe me, I have gone into this in great depth. I can tell you exactly what it costs, and it does not work for smallholder farmers throughout the global south. That's why today, only 2% of arable land worldwide is certified organic. That's after 30 years of the official certified organic program. The other problem is that it's a one-size-fits-all system. It's the same everywhere in the world, no matter what the local conditions. And regenerative says, no, you need a set of principles, of standards, but it is always going to be interpreted through the specific cultural, environmental, ecological needs and specifics of a given location. I could go on, but I'm just going to give you that overview on the organic side, of regenerative. So what I'm interested in with regard to how to address the situation of needing to feed 1.5 billion more people by 2050. And to me, the answer is to engage with smallholder farmers, introduce regenerative systems. And what is so interesting is that regenerative is particularly well suited to smallholder farmers in the global south. So that's what my next book is about. It's coming out in September. It's called Whole Earth Farming. And my premise is that if half the world's smallholder farmers, 240 million, were to embrace regenerative agriculture, that could solve the challenge of being able to feed those 1.5 billion more people, because it would be done locally in the same countries where the additional population will come. So just in closing, where is regenerative right now? Well, it's closer than you might think. Stone Barns, in a few miles away, is a regenerative farm and education center. They have a restaurant called Blue Hill, $1,000 a couple, and you have to reserve a month in advance, but it is regenerative. And regenerative should be at the high end of the thing, as long as it's also embracing everything else in the system. But I'm working right now with the Aga Khan Foundation. They support 3.6 million smallholder farmers throughout Africa and Asia to transition to regenerative agriculture. I do some work with the 1 Acre Fund. They're supporting 5 million smallholders throughout Africa, and a third of those are being assisted to move towards regenerative. One particular farm in the United States, you might recognize the name of the owner. It's a 400-acre farm in Tennessee, and the last name on the mailbox is Gore, Al. So I just want to thank you for being able to share this perspective on the potential role of smallholders to address the global food crisis. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hugh. And before we go to a question, do you have a question, Colleen? Okay, I just wanted to recognize our dear favorite Senator, Andrea Stewart-Cousins. And just ask you, are you going to be able to stay for the panel, or are you just here a short time? Okay, she probably won't be here long enough to give out the certificates, but I know that Rosemary has them in hand. Thank you so much. Now, is it all right if we just continue with the question? Colleen, do you want to? Or you can. This is for Hugh. This is for Hugh. What countries or models do you admire for their production and distribution of healthy conservation and food? I got the wording a little bit.
Oh, that's good.
You get the picture.
Yep. Well, there's aspiration, capacity, and then actual delivery. And I would say that I right now admire Tanzania. Now, it's more moving towards, they've got aspiration really locked down. They're moving towards, the systems. And in Arusha, in Tanzania, they have a fantastic center for smallholder regenerative agriculture and training. And it represents the model for the entire continent of Africa, in my mind, because it's working with smallholder farmers, not simply saying, we're going to teach you, but we want to learn with you. And that's such a different approach to a lot of what's going on. So.
Oh, one more. Okay, one more, and then we'll go straight to the panel. If regeneration became the global standard tomorrow, who would lose, and how do we deal with that?
Love that question. Well, part of the challenge when you have any new system coming in is that there are going to be winners and losers. And the fact is that conventional agriculture would lose out. No question about that. And that means fertilizer sales, GMOs, a lot of those. And it's not fair to simply castigate them and say, it all has to go away. There has to be a way to work with them. So I publish a lot of articles on different aspects of regenerative agriculture. And I recently got into a bit of hot water because I did a big article on GMOs. And I was starting off by saying, I do not think GMOs have any place in regenerative agriculture, period, end of story. However, Right now, the largest amount of arable land in the United States that is claiming to be regenerative uses GMOs. They're excluded from organic, so they're trying to get in the side door with regenerative. And so I was saying, I don't think that's a good thing, but I don't think you can simply write them off totally. So why don't we change the standard by which regenerative is gauged? And they might be, frankly, at the low end of the spectrum, possibly next to the bathroom, whereas the gold standard will be up here. But let's at least figure out a way where they're in the ecosystem, you know?
Thank you so much, Kumar. I'd like to call Ivy. Ivy, are you here? Yes. Here comes Ivy. She's going to introduce the panel. And panel, you can come up as she says your name.
Hi, everyone. We'll now be moving into the panel portion of our program today. Each of our panelists carry experiences spanning across community land stewardship, farming, public policy, and food access. Our panelists each bring a unique lens to the challenge of food security. So let's dive into the conversation and explore how these perspectives come together to shape more equitable and resilient food systems. First, I'm going to call up our moderator for today, Ruby Olisameka. Our panel discussion will be moderated by Ruby today. She is a community land steward, environmental educator, and founder of Khalifa, advancing food sovereignty and community-led land restoration across Mount Vernon and the surrounding region. Okay. Next, I'd like to call up Michael Capers.
Is Michael here?
There we go. Michael Capers is a farmer, activist, and community builder at Sweet Freedom Farm, who draws on his lived experience to advance food justice, healing, and access for marginalized and formerly incarcerated communities. Next, I'd like to call up Michelle Hughes. Michelle Hughes is director of regional food programs at the Glenwood Center, where she brings over 25 years of leadership in agriculture, racial equity, and food justice to support farmers and expand equitable food access. Next, I'd like to call up Millie McGraw. Millie is program coordinator for water quality and planning at the Westchester County Planning Department, where she leads initiatives connecting climate solutions, ecosystem restoration, and local food security. Notably, she is heading a community gardens program called Planting Westchester. Finally, I'd like to call up to the stage Rebecca Snyder. Rebecca Snyder is Director of Corporate Partnerships at Feeding Westchester, leveraging her background in human rights and global health to build strategic partnerships that expand access to nutritious food and advance community impact. Join me in giving a round of applause to all of our panelists today.
Whichever one you want. If you want to be here, that's fine. Might be easier.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming out. Hello, friends. I just want to shout out Hugh. Excellent talk, and excellent talk. And let's acknowledge Jack Algier, right, and Stone Barns and the work that they've done. It's been phenomenal. I was trained there. I was an apprentice a long, long time ago. But these folks on the panel, right, are working with the equivalent of our global South in Westchester, right? So these patterns are reverberating through our world. So there is a general global South and global North, and in our little microcosm little county, there is a global South and a global North, and we face the same challenges. I want to talk to you later. But hey, y'all. general questions for everyone. And maybe we'll start with you, Millie, and we go down the line. So first, can you share a little bit about your work for those who don't know who you are, and highlight one specific program or initiative that you're leading that addresses food insecurity in Westchester County?
Thanks, Ruby. Thanks, and thanks everyone for. Okay, does that work? Can you all hear me? Okay. Ruby, thank you so much, and thank all of you for coming out. This is a great turnout, and this is such an important subject. I'm really honored to be up here. I work for my name is Millie McGraw. I work for Westchester County in the Department of Planning, and I'm coordinating a program there called Planting Westchester. And I mean, the county does a lot of stuff. We're probably going to start to embark on a agriculture and farm protection plan, which I can get into a little bit more later. But right now, I just want to quickly sort of talk a little bit about one of the favorite things that I work on, which is community gardens. And so, you know, sort of along the lines of what Hugh was just saying, there are a lot of community gardens that are, you know, under an acre or just over an acre in Westchester County. A couple of years ago, I started to try to collect a database to determine all of them. I stopped somewhere around 85. I know that there are many more out there. A lot of them that I don't know of are like school gardens, especially private school gardens, and just other gardens. I discovered one just on Friday that I did not know about. And we conducted a survey of all of those gardens. About 2/3 of them responded. And part of what we asked, amongst a whole bunch of things, were sort of like, what were their needs, so that how can we at the county better serve them? And a lot of what we came up with was, you know, money, volunteers, and a succession plan as well. We then sort of, we've been working with gardens. We have a grant out now to some of the gardens for irrigation, raised beds, and netting. And we had a community gardener meetup as a way of trying to make the county smaller. There's a lot of people in the county, and so we wanted them to connect and find out what some of the resources were that were available to them, connect with each other so that they can share their own resources, both intellectual as well as physical. And so, I mean, like, ideally, what I would want to happen next with community gardens, and let me just say, the community gardens, they represent a myriad of gardens. A whole lot of them are giving gardens. Some of them are communal gardens. Some of them are teaching gardens. They have a mix of how much of the food that they produce they use for themselves, and it helps, you know, helps them meet their food security issues, as we're going to get into probably a little bit more. 39% of the households in Westchester County are food insecure, and so 39%. So it's real important that we figure out ways in all different directions of how we can address that. I can talk more later on about what else the county is doing in that regard, but 39%. So the giving gardens and the school gardens and the communal gardens that are in people's neighborhoods where there's food insecurity, they're all big drops in the bucket. And so part of my next steps is to try to quantify how big a drop in the bucket these gardens provide. But I'm taking up way too much time. We don't have a lot of time.
No worries, no worries.
I'm just going to stop here.
Thank you, Millie.
I could go on for like 2 hours, but.
Thank you, Millie. So we're talking about small gardens, small growing spaces. Let's expand to bigger spaces. Michelle, the same question, right? Share a bit. I know, right? I was going to go down the line, but let's hop to you. Let's make it exciting. Share a bit about your work and highlight a specific program or initiative, right?
Yeah, and I really appreciate your framing and connection to Hugh's talk. Thank you. Oh.
Did a green light come on?
maybe we can share.
Here, do you want to just use mine?
Okay,
Yeah.
We'll figure this out. Hello? Okay, great, thank you. Yeah, I really appreciated your framing, Ruby, because we really are working with, the kind of our Hudson Valley equivalent of smallholder farms. So, I work at the Glenwood Center for Regional Food and Farming in Cold Spring. Maybe some of you are familiar with it. We also are a regenerative farm. And our mission is to support just and resilient food systems so that farmers, the land, and communities can thrive. And we do that through farmer training, through food access programming, and also through our own farm on site. And the one program I'd like to highlight is our Food Sovereignty Fund. So I work with my colleagues on this program. We start with a belief that everyone should have access to regenerative food, to the highest quality food. Food is a human right. And so we contract farms to grow for food access organizations. And for the last 3 years, we've made $500,000 worth of contracts per year, so that these farms can grow the highest quality food and get it into our emergency food system. And so Sweet Freedom Farm is one of the farms that we partner with. We partner with 30 farms. We also believe that it's really important that the farmers are matched with communities where they can provide food that is culturally appropriate. So we work with for example, a lot of farmers who are originally from Mexico that grow really specialty herbs that the Latinx community really wants and is really excited to see getting into the food pantries. We work with farmers who are growing East Asian specialty crops. It was so wonderful to go to one of the pantries in Manhattan, in Chinatown, that's partnered with Choi Division, a farm in Chester, New York, in Orange County that grows East Asian specialty crops, and to see the elders there, the Chinese elders, who are just overcome with joy just to see these vegetables that are so important to them. And be able to have access to that again. So, and we can get into this, but unfortunately with that program, it was supported in large part through the local food promotion, LFPA, all these federal acronyms, but that program was giving money to states. And that's been cut now. And so for 2 years, there was a $50 million investment nationally in New York State. It was about $25 million per year, I think. And so now we are continuing to fundraise for this program so that we can still make those $500,000 worth of contracts. And we think it's really important to continue those relationships and make sure that we're not just working with different pantries all the time, but that we can really support them. And we've created a community of practice so the farmers and those pantry staff can work together. And I think there are, I should have the number, but maybe 6 or 7 pantries here in Westchester that Fred's Pantry that some people may know. Interfaith. Mount Kisco Interfaith. A number of others.
Thank you. So let's shift over to Rebecca, right? So we're talking about farmers directly feeding communities in Westchester. So feeding Westchester.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. I'm Rebecca Snyder, Director of Corporate Partnerships at Feeding Westchester and incoming board member to UNA Westchester. Very excited to be here. We have a lot of things in common, us panelists, as we learned in a recent prep call. Federal funding cuts being a major one. I'll get into that in just a moment, but I just wanted to give an overview on what Feeding Westchester does, who we are, who we serve. And as Millie said earlier, we are serving the 39% of our Westchester neighbors that are at risk of hunger. And that is a number that is up from 33% just last fiscal year. It's a shocking and staggering statistic that surprises a lot of people. So we are the largest nonprofit hunger relief organization in Westchester, and we provide food to about 175 food pantries and partners all across the county, up county in Montrose and Mount Kisco, Peekskill, and down county to Yonkers, where we recently launched a school-wide network food pantry system to get on-site support for students in need of food. And many of which the pantries that Michelle also supports. That's great, including Fred's Pantry, Mount Kisco Interfaith being a large one we provide food to. But so we are currently experiencing 235,000 neighbor visits across these pantries every single month, which is up from 229,000 last fiscal year. Another number that is shocking. There are a lot of new things that are affecting our neighbors. I know we'll probably get into SNAP, HR1, a lot of things that are affecting our neighbors and ourselves, like rising food costs, fuel costs, inflation, things that even all of us in this room are feeling today and will continue to feel in the future as food prices continue to go up. So our federal food support has also been cut, like Michelle, and I'm sure many others, even in this room. So we've had a reduction by about $3.7 million since February last year, and which is shocking. And as you probably know, SNAP, which provides food for 8 times the amount of food that Feeding Westchester supports to our neighbors, is in danger. And there are new requirements that might affect up to 8 to 9% of our neighbor base in Westchester alone. So, and I think about 70,000 or 77,000 of our Westchester neighbors are on SNAP benefits currently. So, yep, that's who we're trying to serve. And I came prepared to talk about a program related to Earth Day. And I actually spoke with a couple of people before this event, which is great, who were at our Hunger Heroes breakfast a couple days ago. So Feeding Westchester has a wonderful program called Retail Recovery, and I always love talking about that. It's a very sustainable program that we have in partnership with over 70 retailers across the county, including Stop and Shop, BJ's, Wegmans, Trader Joe's, Sam's Club, among many others, who contribute food that might be approaching its best by date. It might be seasonal, maybe the box is slightly damaged, but the inside product is safe. That food used to end up in landfills before we had relationships with these retailers, and now of our 21 million pounds of food that we distribute annually to our neighbors, over 5 million came in from retail recovery last year. So it's diverting food from a landfill. Other products such as cleaning products, feminine hygiene items, health products, things like that, as we might expect. People who might be struggling with food insecurity are likely struggling to procure other basic needs assistance. So we're happy to have the retail recovery program to get a wide variety of products into the hands of our neighbors through direct distributions to our pantries. So this program is critical because I really feel we're bridging the gap between food suppliers and our neighbors. We are providing, like I had said before, a wide variety of product, name brand items we might not typically be able to source in bulk as a food bank, and and we are also supporting Neighbor Choice, which is a very equitable model that Feeding Westchester is extremely dedicated to serving to our neighbors, where our neighbors can choose what they would like when they come to a distribution. We do not want to limit, we do not want to dictate what our neighbors should eat, and we want culturally relevant, diverse, wide range of dietary restricted food that's satisfactory and things like that. So, and retail recovery, again, not only saves food from a landfill, it also supports the rising food and fuel costs. All this food is coming into us at no cost, and we send trucks down up to 3 times a week per retailer. So we are able to procure that product, sort through it at Feeding Westchester, and put it on our inventory. And food prices, I'm sure we'll talk about this as well, food prices are up about 30% since pre-pandemic. So the more we can reclaim and increase these relationships with local farms and suppliers, retailers, we are able to get more diverse food into people's hands and hopefully protect people from these rising costs so nobody would have to choose between feeding their family, rent, health care, filling up their gas tank, and these are impossible choices many of our neighbors have to make. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, right? Okay, let's speak. Let's talk to a farmer, an actual farmer. Hey, Michael from Sweet Freedom Farm. Tell us about yourself.
How y'all doing? So,
And
my
your
name
work.
is Michael Capers. My name is Michael Capers. I'm the Director of Community Support at an organization called Sweet Freedom Farm. And Sweet Freedom Farm, we're a Black-led abolitionist farm, and we prioritize getting food to the most impacted communities. And for us, the most impacted communities is marginalized gender folks and people who are currently or formerly incarcerated. So during the pandemic, our founder Jalal realized that there was a need for people who are currently incarcerated and their families to get fresh produce. So they started a free farm stand outside of Sing Sing Correctional Facility, or Ossining Correctional Facility, known as Sing Sing Correctional Facility. And what we were doing was we were bringing food up from Germantown, New York, and setting up a farm stand outside of the prison and giving food to the families who were going to visit their loved ones to bring inside, but also food to bring home. And then around 2022, the Department of Corrections banned packages from going inside from loved ones. So we continued the farm stand up until last year, but we realized that we weren't impacting the communities the way we wanted to. So we started a program called FTP CSA. It's called Feed the People CSA or Farm to Prison CSA. And what we did was we started sending fresh free produce to people up to 20 pounds a month. Last year we serviced 36 people, giving about 5,000 pounds a month. And the reason why we decided to do it this way is because we realized that the same communities that suffer, the same communities that are food deserts are the same communities that suffer from the same mass incarceration or high mass incarceration rates. So we wanted to impact people directly and give them the nutrients that they deserve, because there are a lot of diseases that people have in prison, whether like diabetes, heart disease, and all these other illnesses that people are dying from in prison are the same illnesses that can be prevented by proper diet. So this year with the FTP CSA, we're deciding to scale up and service about 100 to 200 people, which will be us giving at minimum 3,000 pounds a month. And yeah, there's if any of y'all want to know more about the program, y'all can reach out to Sweet Freedom Farm on sweetfreedomfarm.org or Sweet Freedom Farm on Instagram.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And just to affirm what Michael said, there's extensive documentation about the correlation between hunger, toxic foods, poor nutritional foods, and incarceration rates. They're directly correlated. And there are systems, I think in the Midwest, where when a young adult comes into the system, their first question is, what are you eating? Right? It's not about like there's some sort of deficiency in the mind or some sort of like, natural delinquency. Folks are just not getting the magnesium they need to process, like to make good decisions. Like you don't have the selenium you need, you don't have the magnesium you need, you didn't have the nickel. So yeah, thank you, Michael. I just wanted to add that. Okay, so let's start with you though. Your work centers dignity, equity, access to food for people who are too often forgotten, right? So when we talk about food security, we're not always thinking about the incarcerated. We're just, and I like that you're thinking about that. I love that Jalal's thinking about that, right? So how does your grow food, not prisons, approach shift the conversation from food security to food sovereignty?
So specifically, the grow food, not prison model is basically us saying invest in the people as opposed to investing in the institutions, right? And furthermore, is just like us being able to define our own liberation. So like land access, right? When we think about food sovereignty, it's the ability to grow and create your own, grow your own food and create your own communities and allow them to sustain themselves. So yeah, to answer your question, it's just really the ability to be able to define our own health outcomes by the stuff we're putting in our body.
Yeah.
Can I scale back a little bit? So One of the most important parts about why we do work with the CSA program is that people who are currently incarcerated, who are making like 16 cents an hour, are forced to purchase from vendors who mark food up by like 100%. So to put it all in perspective, a mango that costs 99 cents out here costs $4.99 from these vendors. And when we're talking about food sovereignty, people inside of those institutions don't have the ability to create their own food systems, right? They can't grow food. They can't go to no pantries. They're just forced to get the food that the institution is giving. And that same food is said to be, it has more, it's non-nutrient dense, but it has more calories than you should be taking in. So you're eating more food than you should, but getting less nutrients than you should. So it's like these systems like this and fighting these systems puts us all in position to create or create access to a better food system that leads to food sovereignty as opposed to just security, right? Because security means that like it can mean that someone's just giving you the resources, right?
Yeah.
But sovereignty means you have the resources and you can continue to sustain them.
So speaking about having resources, Millie. From a county from the county perspective, so what are the biggest opportunities right now to strengthen the local food system? Right? What policy or structural barriers still make it difficult to expand food production and access at scale?
Yeah, so, I mean, as I mentioned, so in 2004, the county produced the Agriculture and Farm Protection Plan. So that was 22 years ago, and just certainly like within the county in terms of the land mass, just even in those 22 years, a lot has changed. There's just not a lot of open space within the county where we can really start to develop a lot of farmland. We are hopefully going to be developing a new plan coming up, and I just sort of, so I don't mess it up. So like so hopefully that's going to be happening pretty soon, that we're going to be working with a couple organizations to help do that. And some of the main points of that plan that we are hoping to develop would be to identify strategies that we can use to protect viable farmland, suggested best practicings, regenerative. Some of the community gardens that I work with too do regenerative farming. The development of a more equitable and resilient food distribution system, and also workforce development, I mean. So those are some of the areas that we hope to be covering within that plan as a way of addressing this. And I just want to also say that, you know, we're really blessed in a way in this county that it's not just the county who's looking at this. There are a bunch of really good organizations out there that are looking at these issues as well. I mean, the county that are a lot more nimble maybe than the county is. The county can't do it all, and so we are, you know, sort of continuing to develop and grow our relationships with these other organizations so that we can really partner together. It's unfortunately, it's not, you know, it's not an easy fix. And the community gardens, of course, is one thing that we want to add, you know, that we're working on as a way of helping to feed people. We have a food security coordinator, Susan Weissman. She works with a lot of the food pantries. The county itself has given through operating expenses as well as through federally funded monies through the CDBG program. We have been supporting both Feeding Westchester and, you know, a bunch of food pantries around the county, sort of as a way of helping, you know, just get more food out there. There's a whole myriad of other things that we're doing. It's hard. It's the type of thing where you have to be doing everything everywhere all at once. You know, there's so many different components that need to be addressed.
Yeah, so let me jump in, Millie, because you mentioned a lot of the organizations that are doing this work as well, and it shouldn't all be on the county's table to do it all.
It's not that it shouldn't be, it's that I mean, some of these organizations are the people are there, they're working with them, like Stone Barns and what they're doing with their regenerative farming. Like, there are really good organizations out there that we are Feeding Westchester, really good organizations out there that have expertise in areas that we, that just sort of out of the county.
So one
auspices that we
question.
can
So
work
one
with.
question to you all that I think this would be interesting. This is personally, I would love to know this. Michelle said in a call that we had that you all are kind of working together, and the commonalities that you all have an end user, which is the person who's hungry or food insecure. Then my question, in light of what you said, Millie, where do you see each other working together? Where do you see yourselves working together? How could you connect with each other? Who wants to take that one?
People looked at me already. All right.
I was like,
Everyone's had turn. Advocacy and inspiring policy change, I think, is really the big one. I was actually at the FRAC conference this past week in Washington, D.C., where people are doing Hill visits to support this, to raise awareness on SNAP and the effects of the HR 1 bill on SNAP recipients. And I think since our end user is all the same, advocating and connecting each other through policy inspire change is the critical way that we can do that, at least as a start. And I think lowering cost barriers is really important for our neighbors, and I appreciated what Michael said, especially when people are in a food desert. What happens if there is, no supermarket where they can get fresh produce, or even Feeding Westchester, at least, we're committed to popping up a mobile food pantry, for example, to meet that need to get produce and healthier food and food options into the hands of vulnerable populations. And I think investing in local food systems is another really important one, especially farmers, to support that. Without farms, we would not have food. So I don't know how much simpler I can make that. So I think that's another way we can connect. And we all kind of looked at each other in our planning call, being like, well, we got a lot of work to do together, and we're inspired to do it. So.
Yeah, there is, I should say too, there is a really wonderful farm, just to sort of address some of what Michael's doing. There is a really wonderful farm in Westchester called DIG, D-I-G. It's run by Allison Turkin. And they actually go to the Bedford Correctional Center for women, and they have a garden there. And so they work with the female prisoners and help them, grow their own produce. And they are in the process of trying to bring one to the men's correctional center too. So
do you want to
it's not
speak to that too, Michael?
It's not the Austining Correctional Center, which is much bigger, but it's along the same lines. It would be wonderful if we could get a farm there.
Yes, if we speak about Dig and Allison, we have to speak about Jalal and Doug, right? So let's talk about, and then we'll go to Michelle.
Yeah, so Bedford Hills is actually one of the facilities that we ship food to. So we ship food to Bedford Hills, Taconic Correctional Facility, Sing Sing, Greenhaven, and Eastern Correctional Facility.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, and Fishkill, they also, like in the Eastern Correctional Facility, they also have like gardens there. But one of the biggest problems is that they have access to grow the food, but they're not able to keep the food. So I think there was a year
They're not?
that Fishkill gave away like 13,000 pounds of food, and the incarcerated population weren't able to get any of it. But in regards to your question of us all working together, I know our organization works with Michelle, but I think that just like understanding that we're all fighting the same fight. I know the work may look a little bit different because we're like supporting directly incarcerated folks, but we're all fighting food apartheid, and we all gotta come together on each level, right? Because there's many different tiers, but just coming together on each level and lending a hand wherever we could.
Thank you, Michelle. And then after you, Michelle, please let folks know how they can support your work, how they can get involved, whether it's through volunteering or whether it's through donations. How can people support you and the work that you're doing? But go ahead, Michelle. How can we work together?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to just second Rebecca on working together on policy, because I think we So, yeah, you gave me some big questions, Ruby, so I kind of have a lot of things. But yeah, I think I mentioned the local food purchase assistance.
Yes.
I know that a lot of farmers I work with are just doing everything that they can right now to advocate for that program because it was so important for their bottom line and also for feeding the communities that they feel so connected to. And now they're able to do it a little bit through our program, but because it was a statewide program with a $25 million investment, that's a lot of money to be suddenly gone out of the food system. And then also the regional food, RSFI, all these acronyms. Basically was an infrastructure investment that was made nationally also. And I really think we need this like middle of the chain infrastructure. So a lot of cold storage, processing infrastructure. For example, there's in sort of a little bit north of the Hudson Valley, Bread Tree Farm is investing a lot in processing chestnuts. So I think, increasing our production of these more like forest farming products can really feed a lot of people, I think, appropriately in our ecosystem. And so, but we're needing the infrastructure to make flour and oil from those seeds. And cold storage, I think, could serve all of us because, we don't, sometimes the pantries we work with just don't have the place to put the food. And so we have these 3 mobile cold storage units that we've placed throughout the Hudson Valley at 3 different hubs. But we need a lot more than that. That's just, and RSFI has, I think, have the numbers here, how much they invested was, almost $14 million in 2025. And there's 6 programs in the Hudson Valley, 6 farms, and they were, centering farms also. So the farms got these grants to build out this infrastructure. So there, it looks like apple storage, there's milk for schools, there's vegetable processing. So I think we need a lot more of that, and I think that can also support all the work that we're doing. But I think, it's all kind of pieces of the puzzle because we can't do what Feeding Westchester is doing. We need that scale to really, feed people now with what we're working with. And then I think we can bring in some of these regeneratively grown, more, fresh foods, both produce, meat, and dairy. So I think, and our work.
How can people here and beyond support you? So go for it. How? Just shout out your website.
Okay,
Volunteer.
Glenwood.org. Absolutely. I mean, I think also with I didn't mention our CSA is a SNAP program, but we pay half of the cost of CSA shares to farmers so that they can offer those shares at half price to people who pay with SNAP. And that's part of also a national program called the Gus Schumacher Nutrition Incentive Program. So and there's the Double Up Food Bucks program in New York also that some of you might be familiar with. So we're all funded through this same national program, which still exists, has not been cut. And I think, what was I going to say about, so we're at the end of a 3-year grant, and right now we've met all of our targets. We have 30 farms that we're partnering with. We have all of these. We have over 100 distribution sites throughout the Hudson Valley in New York City, and the farms, they could deliver over 1,000 shares, but we only have funding because the cost of food has gone up so much and the cost of production. When we wrote the grant, food was 1.5 times less expensive. So we're not going to meet our goal of the number of shares that we could distribute, and it's really heartbreaking because the farms have the production, we have the customers, but we just don't have the money. So, if we could even raise another $100,000, it could go so much further. So I think that's, where I'm day to day sort of like, it's causing me the most stress right now.
I think we are at time, however, so maybe just quickly, Please find Michelle if you have $100,000. I know. Small
Or $10.
change. Small change.
Or 10.
Easy check. How could we support you?
So Feeding Westchester, Feeding Westchester also accepts donations, and for every dollar donated, we can purchase up to 2 meals for our neighbors. As you know, we are a food bank, and we purchase through bulk purchasing areas, so we can procure food in greater quantities. We also have grown to a distribution center to store about 40 million pounds of food, so worst case scenario, we might be able to support organizations on the panel. You never know, so we'd love to continue that conversation. But if you're inspired, you can create a food drive. Students at Manhattanville have done it many times. I spoke with one right before here from Manhattanville, and also one from Rye Country Day who's here. I'm looking at her. And thank you for supporting with the food drive. And you can also talk to me anytime and visit our website, feedingwestchester.org. Thank you.
One sentence. How can we support you?
So our packages cost about $30 for shipping costs, about $65 to $75 per package. So you can start as small as there, but our organization is sustained by donors and grants, so any support would be appreciated. Remember, Sweet Freedom Farm on Instagram and our website.
And
I can't ask for money for the county, of course. But please, I mean, like, the ways that you can support us is by supporting all of them, by talking to everyone you know about food insecurity and asking them to reach out and help some people, to volunteer at your local food bank, to start a community garden, to volunteer at other gardens. I mean, there's a whole myriad of ways that people in the county can get out there. But I think one of the most important things, well, other than your time, is communication. Like, so many people just don't understand or don't know. So the more you talk about this stuff, the more people are going to get involved and help.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please do not be scared to give. It is a liberating act. So congratulations to you guys and the work you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much to the panel and to Ruby for moderating. Unfortunately, we're behind time, surprise, surprise. And we have to get to our annual meeting, so I'm going to start that soon. But we will have certificates because we're honoring your 4 organizations. So after we present the annual report, we'll call you back up when Ruby will do the honors. Thank you very much, Ruby, and thank you very much to the panel. They have so much rich information to provide, and I'm just sorry that we don't have more time, so we apologize. Now it is time to begin the presentation of our annual report. It's our annual meeting today, so I have the honor of giving a very short summary of our annual report. If Derek could cue it up. Yeah, there we go. Annual report highlights. As you know, UNA Westchester is a membership organization. We have, about a little over 130 members or something like that. Next slide. And we're connected with 130 chapters throughout the country. So we have a number of committees, and I just wanted to tell you about the committees so that if you're interested in joining one of the committees, you will step up and do so. Our advocacy committee is led by Dr. Rosemary Uzo and Andy Laub, and you can see that we invite our local political leaders to our public outreach events, such as the one today. We have an expanded policy influence with board representation on Congressman George Latimer's Foreign Affairs Task Force, and that's Andy Laub sits on that task force, and just promoting global awareness of the work of the United Nations. Next, Derek. Our communications committee is led by Raina Cadaville. She's not here, but her deputies, Ivy Mininger and Marika Adam, have been helping out. We have a quarterly newsletter. The one that had our annual report in it just came out a few weeks ago. We have the social media, Facebook page, and website is unawestchester.org. And engagement through Zoom and Eventbrite for our regular programs. Thank you. Next, Derek. So the program committee. The program committee is the most active, and we always need help, so please step up if you have the time. We have 4 to 5 events a year, and just to mention some, every year we have the Earth Day and annual meeting. Last year it was on May 4th. This year it's on May 3rd. We celebrate the International Day of the Girl. We partner with the County Youth Bureau on that. UN Day is usually our biggest program of the year. Last year, we had it on restorative justice, and it was at the Greenberg Public Library. It's always a very exciting day, and we also raise the UN flag in a lot of our communities around the county. Next, Derek. Human Rights Day on December 13th. We partnered this year with the Yonkers Human Rights Commission, and we may do that again. One of our speakers, Thalenza, was there to make a presentation. And the Women's Empowerment Summit, which we had with Mercy University this year, took the place of our normal International Women's Day. So it was a bit broader, but it kicked off the Women's History Month, and it was held on February 27th at Mercy University. It was a wonderful event. And then this. So this is our Earth Day and annual meeting for this year. Next, Derek. Partnerships Chair, I believe she's here, Nicole Benjamin. We have a strong collaboration and public outreach program, and as I mentioned, we're so excited to have this special program with Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority and the Links Incorporated, where any member of those two organizations can get a 50% discount on membership in UNA. So we're very excited about that. There are other organizations that are part of it. For example, UNA UNICEF is part of it. Also UNA Refugees, HCR, UNHCR. If you're members of those organizations, you can also get the discount. We engaged a wide network of partners, as you can see in this room, for each one of our programs. And we also have programs in education, environment, and community advocacy. Our partnerships strengthen program impact, visibility, and community engagement. And here's some of our friends from Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority. Next. Education Committee. Is Mr. M here? Mr. M is here, and Maison are heading up the Education Committee. We have a nice Good Neighbors program with our friends at the Links, with Dr. Pam Menard, here she is, Minyard. And we have delivered these UN and SDG presentations at high school. So if you're interested, talk to either M or Maison about that. And World Federation of United Nations Associations, that's all over the world. We have UNAs in every country. So we've been partnering with them, especially for the International Model UN. And we have strengthened U.S. youth engagement through programs like UN Kids Day, which is also at the UN. So you can see some of the photographs there. Next, Derek. Membership Committee. Nicole Butterfield could not be here today, but we have new rules on membership. So the free youth membership that used to go up to the age of 26 now only goes to 17. And people between 18 and 30 can become youth, young professional members. And you can speak to Jose or anybody at the membership table in the back, Nicolina. But we have a strong core of engaged members. We have 124 active members. We used to have 3 times that much because all those free members now have to pay, so they didn't get around to it. So the new $25 per year partner rate for our affiliate partners. And as you can see, we have the membership table and community networking after this at the reception outside. Next. Finance Committee, that's Nicolina over there in the corner. We're trying to put together a corporate sponsorship program. We have a very low budget, and so we need to improve that. So she's working on donations and sponsorships and a corporate strategy. Next. Young professionals, Jose and Ivy are our co-chairs. It's a great program, but unfortunately, all young people are very busy, so it's hard to find time to get them together. But anyway, Jose and Ivy are working their best, and they have volunteer opportunities such as at this program and other programs. And we're expanding our outreach to schools and universities. We have that great Model UN team at Mercy University, and we work together with Manhattanville. So we love to have those young people in our network. And we have a leadership pipeline and SDG programming and so on. Last year, this young climate activist spoke. She was terrific. Next slide. Our poor budget. I think we have the lowest budget of any NGO in Westchester. But anyway, we're gonna bring it up. We're down to $6,000, and it mostly comes from just memberships. And we only get 50% of what the members pay, so the rest goes to headquarters. So anyway, we'll raise that up. Next slide. So now I'm ready to give the floor to Michelle Shivers, who was our nominating committee chair, to present the new board of directors. And thank you very much for listening.
Good afternoon. I am Michelle Shivers, the nomination chair. We have a very strong, diverse incoming committee coming on. Re-elected for a 2-year term. Please stand when you hear your name. Marsha Brewster, President. Victor Patakami, Treasurer. Maison Arnone, Allison Christmas, Colleen Cardefi, Nicolina Galmanov-Geski, Connie Jones-Hairston, Rosemary Uzo. Re-elected for a 1-year term, Nicole Butterfield. We have newly elected board members, Delinza Arfrey Krasneski and Rebecca Snyder. Continuing board members, Nicole Benjamin, Raina Cotterville, Andrew Lobb, Demetrios, we call him M, Miheldelis, I messed that up, I'm sorry. Say again? M, Demetrius M, and myself, C, Michelle Shivers. Please give us all a great hand clap. And we also want to say, I think it's next slide, we also want to say thank you to, why did I blank on your name? Jose Nunes, for being a wonderful board member. Continue with your studies. We appreciate you being here. And to Karen Rockwell L. Badry. She was a wonderful secretary on our board, and we loved having us. And this is all of our board members. And we thank all of you.
Now for the most exciting part of the program, awards. Awards. So we're going to begin. We're going to recognize our honorees right now. I hope we have some people taking pictures. Ruby, let me see if I can give you the. So the first honors are to our great 4 organizations that were panelists here. And Feeding Westchester? Oh. Here you go. Oh, I thought Rosemary was, why don't you, here. Oh, Ruby, here. So, Feeding Westchester.
Okay. Okay, so Senator Andrea Stewart Cousins and Senator Shelley B. Mayer, thank you, is offering you a certificate of recognition, presenting to Feeding Westchester for its outstanding record of delivering food to hungry families in Westchester County. Thank you so much for your service. The United Nations Association of the USA, UNA USA Westchester Chapter, on the occasion of its annual meeting and Earth Day 2026, Global Goals, Local Roots, yes? Yes, we're offering this, right, to Glenwood Center for Regional Food and Farming for its outstanding contribution to sustainable agriculture and community engagement in the spirit of Sustainable Development Goal number 2 and the United Nations. Oh, Michelle. Thank you so much for your service.
That's for.
Okay, and this is a certificate of recognition from Senator Andrea Stewart Cousins and Senator Shelley B. Mayer for you.
Thank you.
We've got the double certificates. One is from UNA, and the other one is from Senators Andrea Stewart Cousins and Shelley Mayer. Now,
Sweet Freedom Farm, Michael. This is just to recognize you. May your work prosper. May you do better than you did last year. Thank you so much for your service, Michael. This is a certificate of recognition presented to the Westchester County Department of Planning, Millie McGraw. Please come pick this up. Thank you thank you so much for your outstanding service.
Thank you for yours.
That's it, right? Thank you.
those are our 4 organizations that we're recognizing today. So shall we take pictures now? Let's take pictures of the 4 organizations, please. And their wonderful panelists who represented them today. Rebecca, Michelle, and Ruby, and Millie, and Michael. Michael, there. Sure. Thank you very much for all that you've done. Do we have some photographers in the room? Thank you, and we really appreciate all that you are doing to alleviate food security, to improve food security in Westchester County. Thank you very much. Michael. Thank you all very much for your contributions. Next, we have our special honoree from New Rochelle, and that I would like Colleen to say a few words.
Thank you. I can carry all that. Oh, that's fine. No, I'm good. All right. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon, and thank you all so much for being here with us. I am very excited to introduce Sarah Kay. She is a city council member of New Rochelle City Council, and she is an environment champion. And as a resident of New Rochelle, I am delighted with all her efforts to make New Rochelle greener and more beautiful. So, Sarah, if you can come up, please. Thank you. We have 3 certificates for you. I do want to just sort of highlight some of Sarah's efforts and work. She has been advancing a New Rochelle Green Climate Action Policy in New Rochelle, identifying and addressing risks from flooding, heat, and climate impacts, tapping into federal incentives for renewable energy and infrastructure, establishing a tree nursery at Ward Acres, which is so beautiful. We have so many beautiful parks in New Rochelle. And there's actually a weekend calendar for volunteers at Ward Acres, which is really nice, so everybody can join the efforts. She is also involved with launching a food scrap recycling program. New Rochelle is the only municipality with 2 drop-off sites. And she helping to expand the availability of our free electric shuttle, the Circuit Trolley, so we can continue to offer clean, accessible form of transportation to New Rochelle residents. And I appreciate the Circuit Trolley because when my kids need to be picked up at the train, they could take the Circuit Trolley. So anyway, we're so proud of Sarah, and I think she has a few words, and we have your certificates.
Oh, thank you so much, Colleen. I'm truly honored, and I'll just share really quickly just what I love most about working in local government is that we have the opportunity to turn policies and plans into visible, tangible improvements that benefit all of our residents, whether it's building new park amenities or planting a row of trees in a neighborhood that has poor air quality, or simply installing a safer crosswalk so our kids can walk to school safely. It's all about improving quality of life and making sure that our communities are healthier, more resilient, and are prepared for the future.
Yes,
Thank you.
Great, that's right. And Sarah is a mom, so she has more impetus. And we want to talk. Go ahead.
No, I just want to help you.
Yes. Okay. Awesome.
So we have a certificate from our senators, Andrea Stewart Cousins and Shelley Meyer, and as well from the Westchester County, from the UNA Westchester, and I believe we also have one from Ken Jenkins. Now, is Ken Jenkins here? He has not come yet. Let me just, can you open that and show us?
Yeah. Sure.
This one.
This one. Okay.
So you get 3 certificates, one from the county executive. That's rather beautiful, isn't it? Very nice. And then one from UNA Westchester, and another one from Andrea Stewart Cousins and Shelley Mayer.
Here's the one from UNA.
So thank you, Sarah, for all of your service.
And also, I recognize Rosemary and Andy.
Rosemary, are you going to come up and give the other Ken Jenkins certificates?
Yeah.
Okay, so Sarah, so thank you very much. We really appreciate your work. Now, do you want to give the, wait, we have the media contest. M, would you like to come up for the media contest winners? And Maison. So here are 2 more of our board members. M and Maison and Tholenza. Okay. This is for the media contest winners.
Can you hear me? Yes or no? My kids would yell at me, say, fantastic job. Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Oh, for the recording. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It is wonderful to see everyone here today to celebrate this day. And Michelle said it perfectly. It is so great that we're having so many new members and board members, okay? And I'm kind of passing the torch today from me to Maison. It's great. It's great. Yes. Maison and I are always honored to be able, at this time of the event, because I know I'm on the timer, to present the awards to the winners of the Tricia Valdez Media Contest. This year's topic was STG 6, Clean Water and Sanitation. We would like to thank all the students and their teachers for participating and for their hard work. As always, we say they are our future ambassadors. The committee had a very hard time selecting from all the fantastic submissions, and we narrowed it down to 4. From Mount Vernon High School, our future oceanographer, Kennedy Davenport, 11th grade. Fish and caps. First one right there. No, okay. Yes. Then we have Serenity Calero, Mount Vernon High School, and she's our future biologist. And they're not, yeah, if they, yeah. Cardboard turtle, and you can see it up here, and also at the table. And then, of course, we have Hannah Hitolf from Mount Vernon High School, Ocean in a Bottle, our future artist. But I left the best for last. I really did. Miss Bella Arnon, our future poet laureate. Please come up. She will read her poem, Water, Source of Creation. She was shy, but Mom and I got her.
They're also winning a medal and a Dunkin' Donuts. All teenagers.
Thank you. A girl wakes up before the sun. Her day has barely even begun. She walks for miles to find a stream, not for fun, but just to survive and dream. The water she carries, is it clear or clean? But it's all her family has ever seen. She misses school, she loses time, all for water that's barely fine. Meanwhile, I turn on a tap with ease. Fresh water flows whenever I please. I don't have to think, I don't have to try. I never stop and wonder why. The world has a goal, number 6 they say, to bring clean water to everyone one day. But for many people, that day is not here, and every drop still comes with fear. Dirty water can make people sick, and fixing the problem won't be quick. But small changes can still go far, no matter who or where you are. Build better systems, bring water close, help the communities that need it most, so girls don't have to walk each day just to keep their families okay. Clean water isn't too much to ask. It shouldn't be such a difficult task, because something so basic, something so true, should be there for me and for them too. Thank you.
Beautiful poem.
Congratulations. There you go. In closing, you can see that their works at the table. Please stop by on the website, all the students that participated. We had a very good turnout. Thank you again to the students, educators in our committee, Ms. Owen, Ms. Karen, Ms. Audrey, Ms. Lily, Ms. Delanza, Ms. Allison, Ms. Rosemary, and Em, for making the media contest part of the celebration. Enjoy the rest of the day and stay safe. Thank you.
We can also call him Mr. M, since he called everybody else Miss. Mr. M. Last but not least, our fabulous Model UN team from Mercy University, who always wins one or more awards at the National Model UN program, and this year they won Distinguished Delegation, Outstanding Delegate, and 2 outstanding position papers. Matthew and friends, please come up. Thank you, Matthew. We have 2 here, and I think we have one from Ken Jenkins. And one from and one from Andrea. The Mercy University Model UN. Did you want to say a few words?
Yes, of course. Yes, hello everyone. Just on behalf of the Mercy Model UN team, I want to thank the UNEA chapter. We really appreciate it. Model UN is great. It brings everyone together to have discussions. We receive a country and we get topics that we basically have to come up with solutions for. I think it's great because it gets people our age talking about issues. I feel like when the talking stops, the problems start, and it's a great way to get involved and to help the world out with one small step at a time. So thank you.
On behalf of Westchester County Executive Ken Jenkins, we are pleased to present you with this certificate of recognition for all that you have done. Thank you.
And Matthew, please stay up here because we'll get all the honorees up here, please, including you, Ruby. And Hugh, come on. Michelle, come on. Rosemary, Michael. I don't know if we can all fit. Some of us might go up on the stage. Yeah. Yes, please.
Okay.
Oh, is that for the model?
No, this is for Sarah's other.
I think we have some more certificates from the county executive that haven't been handed out yet. So if Andy and maybe Rosemary could do that. Thank you. Maybe we can have a few photos. Some of you can come up here. Some of you Model UN students, how about you? Where's Bella?
And then they want some of you to slide down.
Andy, do you still have more to give out? Let's get the certificates. They're from Ken Jenkins. You can help. We're delighted to have you all here today. It's so nice to have an uplifting event with a lot of very dedicated people in the spirit of the United Nations and the Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you all very much for coming. And I hope you have a chance to visit some of the tables around the room for our co-sponsors. And we will also be meeting outside for the reception. Enjoy yourselves. You don't have to hurry. We're not going to get kicked out of this room. Take your time. Is that all right, Craig? Craig says it's all right. So you can have some food, come back, you can visit the tables, you can speak to our speakers. Please ask them the questions that you didn't have a chance to ask in the room. And I'm sorry, we always have the program so packed that we don't have enough time for questions. Andy, I think you still have some Sweet Freedom Farm. We still have more certificates to hand out. And thank you very much to all our co-sponsors and our volunteers, our board members, and everyone else who participated today. Thank you so much.